Hey folks, welcome into the very first JLAMB MMA Show. A lot of news to get into, a lot of things. First, I want to talk about this podcast network, what I'm gonna try to accomplish here. I mean, I just want it to be fun, good natured, bring some news, bring my takes on certain things. You know, hopefully have a little bit of fun. I want to do stuff. Huge fan of MMA and a huge fan of the UFC and what they've got going on over there. And also, you notice behind me my Texas A&M hat, so I'm a huge fan of Texas A&M football. So huge fan of college football in general. I just follow Texas A&M. So if you've been to this page before, you probably watched my previous Texas A&M recruiting video. You know, I wasn't proud of my performance on that one, but as I get more used to this, as I get more comfortable, we're gonna make it more fun, more enlightened. I want to try to bring a ton of content here, and hopefully, I guess just have fun with it. We do a couple different shows. Really like the idea of doing this MMA show. I mean, I love watching it. Maybe eventually do a companion show where I'm watching UFC pay-per-view, or maybe just a regular ESPN Plus event. So, all right. Eventually, on my page, I'll film a prologue that kind of gives a formal introduction to the JLAMB cast. And I'm not even sure I'm settled on that name yet. We'll figure that one out. So let's get into it. Very first thing on the docket, we've got UFC 259 was 2 weeks ago. We're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on the event that just happened, the Leon Edwards Bilal Muhammad fight. And then, right out the gate, let's just start with the news of the day in the MMA community. Dana White goes on TV last night and announces UFC 261 is going to be 100% capacity at the ViStar Arena, Jacksonville, Florida. Mind blown. Now, I'm a little torn on this because I have enjoyed watching the Fight Island and the UFC Apex fights sans fans, okay? Just hearing every punch, every kick, being able to hear a little bit of coaching instructions. For the Uber fan that I am, it was awesome. But happy to see fans get to come back to the arena, no matter what your politics are, no matter what you think. I mean, I'm excited to see things move in a different direction, and hopefully, prayers that nothing happens as far as COVID goes. But the UFC, Dana White, they were at the forefront of bringing live sports back at the very beginning of the pandemic. And okay, so I'm torn. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure if Dana White's getting the actual credit that he deserves. As you look, we had a football season. We had a college football season. We've had, I guess we're now in the second season of the NBA. The first one they did in a bubble, and now they're doing it actually traveling and going to different arenas. I don't know. I'm not too up on basketball, but I think that's the general gist of it. But yeah, Dana White, it's crafted the perfect plan and was able to bring live sports back. And I remember him saying during the summertime he didn't have to lay off, any employees. Give the man some credit. Like the UFC as an organization as a whole, and Dana White being the face of it, this was huge. And And for anybody that's just looking for competitive sports throughout the early part of the pandemic, maybe you fell into this great sport. And, you know, I think they gained a tremendous amount of following, as if they didn't already have a huge following, but just transcending to that next level. So excited to see what the UFC has in store. Bringing back live events. Dana White's, promised he would be the first to do it, and guess what, folks? He delivered on his promise. So, let's look at UFC 261 for just a second. It says right now, Weili Zhang and Rose Namajunas. Fucking huge fight. Love this fight. Weili Zhang, I'm a huge fan of her. When she came into the UFC, I saw her as a potential champion. She realized that dream last year. I think that was the last event before the world shut down back in March of 2020. And she won the belt and did it in fantastic fashion. I think all of her performances in the UFC have been phenomenal, and I'm excited to see Rose, another one. Love the girl, huge fan of her. Trying to get that title back. It looks like she's gotten back on the right track. That's a solid main event. I think that one's going to get bumped, though, because they did announce that it's still a main event. It's a title fight. You look right there, you see Valentina Shevchenko's also defending her flyweight title against Jessica Andrade. But on top of that, we're going to have a third one, just like we did a couple of weeks ago. 3 title fights on one card. This is another one that's added. Jorge Masvidal, with a full camp this time, is going again after Kamaru Usman. That's exciting. Jorge, the king of Miami, dressing like Tony Montana. That's a bad impression. I won't do that again, I promise you. But I like this fight again. I liked it in the first place. Did not having a camp work against Jorge Masvidal in the way that he thought? I don't know, but I'm happy to see him get another shot at it. I do think that he poses a tough threat for Kamaru Usman, and I like Kamaru. And I think that he is. This could be that fight that transcends him to a whole nother level. So Weili Zhang, Rose Namajunas, and then Valentina, Jessica Andrade. Valentina probably is probably the number 2 greatest of all time women's fighter. I'm just pound for pound. I would say Valentina Shevchenko is number 2. The Bullet, she packs some power. She's very smooth in the ring. In the octagon, I like her. Jessica Andrade, she's stronger. She comes in as a wrestler. I think Valentina Shevchenko has the experience. She just looks so poised. She never looks panicked. She never looks like she's in a tremendous amount of trouble. Even when she was fighting up at bantamweight and she challenged for the title. And she lost, but she never looked like she lost. But moving on, you got Anthony Lionheart Smith facing Jimmy Crute. Those are the only ones that they have announced on the UFC website. I know there's a lot of rumors floating around. I'm assuming that they're gonna stack this card top to bottom, much like they did with UFC 259. Let's go back and look at that one. That was a great one. We had Jan Blachowicz defeating Israel Adesanya. Now, and I wanted to say this from the start, because I know Israel Adesanya came in as a heavy favorite, and Jan Blachowicz he wasn't he wasn't favored. He was the underdog, even though he was the champion and has experience fighting at light heavyweight. Israel Adesanya is a rare talent. There is no doubt about that. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Izzy is great. I personally think had Izzy decided to go up in weight the right way, spend 9 months putting on the weight the right way, instead of, he didn't even put weight on at all. I think he weighed in at 200 pounds. He said that his normal walking around weight is in between 193 and 200. You know, this performance, he looked like he belonged in the light heavyweight division. He didn't look too small for it. It didn't look like a Max Holloway deal. When Max Holloway fought Dustin Poirier for the interim lightweight title. And Max is already a big guy that cuts to 145. So we thought 155 was just a no-brainer. Everybody thought that. Then you see him at 155 and you're, maybe not yet. Not yet. I like him back at 145. No, Izzy looked like he belonged. I think the downfall is that he didn't have enough time to prepare to get up to light heavyweight. So I said, if this fight right here, the Jan Blachowicz Israel Adesanya fight, happened, in October or November, as opposed to right now, we might be singing a different tune about Israel Adesanya right now. He definitely belonged against Jan Blachowicz. He earned Jan Blachowicz's respect. Jan Blachowicz has my respect for taking on Israel Adesanya, a very dangerous cat. Now, Jan is a great champion, nicest guy. Love to hear him talk. Love to hear him speak in the interviews and outside of the octagon. He just seems like a genuine guy, and so I'm happy to see him. But I had Jan as the favorite going into this fight by a small margin. I didn't like Izzy not putting on weight, not having enough time to put on weight and get used to having that weight on him. And then being in a smaller octagon. So that was great. The Amanda Nunes, again, like, your number one pound for pound female of all time, Amanda Nunes. Destroyed Megan Anderson with a triangle armbar, 2 submissions and 1 in the first round. So where does she go next? I think it's back down to bantamweight. I think I'm going to say it right now, and I think there's been a couple of tweets from other women's featherweights out there. I can't recall exactly who yet. Maybe I'll think of it, but I think the women's featherweight division is dead unless you see something from Clarissa Shields or what's the judo specialist from PFL that the UFC is keeping an eye on. I'm gonna look it up real quick. I need a producer. I need a Googler. I need a Nadav. No, I don't need a Nadav. Shout out to Your Mom's House podcast. Anyways, while I'm looking this up, I really do think that the featherweight that it's probably gone. Kayla Harrison, that's right, Kayla Harrison. See, I'm pretty good at Googling. I just can't multitask. I can't talk and look stuff up at the same time. But Kayla Harrison, UFC's keeping an eye on her. Clarissa Shields, former pro boxer, I think they're looking at her too. Both of those would be at the featherweight division. Both could be contenders for Nunes, but both of them don't have experience fighting MMA. At least not the experience needed to come in and challenge the greatest of all time. To me, it's going to be a sideshow. It's going to be a circus show. It's going to be, I'll tune in. I'll watch. But as far as the featherweight division in the UFC, the women's featherweight division, I just don't see it surviving. And if it's dead, it's already dead. If not, they'll kill it whenever Amanda Nunes decides to retire. Does she go back down to bantamweight? There are contenders there for her to face. Maybe a potential rematch with Valentina Shevchenko. She's already beat her twice, but the dominance that Valentina Shevchenko has, it seems to square them up again. Like we could be looking at a third one. I don't know. We'll see where that goes. But I think Amanda Nunes, how many times we're going to see her again? It's probably 2. And then she might be done. I'd be surprised if we saw her more than that. But money talks. And Dana White loves Amanda Nunes and might be willing to open up the UFC bank account for her and keep her around a lot longer. I certainly wouldn't be opposed to that. I think while you're dominant, you keep on dominating. The third title fight, this one broke my heart. Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan. Of course, everybody knows the DQ illegal knee heard around the world. Petr Yan, the champion, looked to be taking over control of the fight with Aljamain Sterling. It was very close in the first round, figuring each other out. Second round, started getting a little bit closer to Petr Yan. Third round, Petr Yan took over. And fourth round, Petr Yan was in charge. He had Aljamain Sterling turtled up on the ground. Was there bad advice from the corner? To me, it doesn't matter if there's bad advice from the corner. Petr Yan is a champion. You get enough fights in you to become a champion. You know the rules of the sport. He knew Aljamain Sterling was down. Did it frustrate Petr Yan into making a dumb mistake? I don't know. I want to see this fight again. Title changing hands, I don't have a problem with Aljamain Sterling being champion, although, I don't think he should be celebrating being the champion. Yeah, I got kneed and I'm the champ. I don't know. Either way, I'm not going to get into that. Aljamain, you're the champion. Right? That's it. I think Petr Yan, I think this is an immediate rematch. All the best of the recovery for Aljamain to get back in the ring as soon as possible and make this rematch happen. Let's do it, because also on that card, this was such a good card. Look at it. Islam Makhachev dominated. Drew Dober is no cakewalk. It's not like they're feeding Islam into being the next Khabib. Like, Islam is legit. Drew Dober is a legit veteran in the UFC. Has had fights and had some big wins. And Islam Makhachev just came in and just dominated. Whew. I can't wait to see this guy again. I'm excited. He is. They said that he's Khabib with better stand up, and I've always thought that funny because I always thought Khabib had pretty decent stand up. He is a heavy he what's the word for it? He relies on that wrestling and gets you to the ground and pound, but in stand up exchanges he does hold his own. It's not like looking at like Chael Sonnen or anything like that. Chael Sonnen, has the great wrestling, and I think his stand up looks silly, but that's all right. It's okay, But yeah, Islam is really the real deal. Then you saw Dominic Cruz come back and face Casey Kenny, and that was a great fight. I think I had Dominic Cruz winning that fight very slightly. It was a split decision, so it was close. It was very close, but Dominic Cruz, he's just on another level, former champion. Askar Askarov versus Joseph Benavidez. That was a great fight. Dominant performance by Askar Askarov. The Kaikar France KO, that was insane. Then on the early prelims, you had some names on there too. Kennedy, I'm gonna butcher this name. Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Carlos Ulberg. So Carlos Ulberg trains out of New Zealand with Israel Adesanya. Kennedy Nzechukwu, again, I'm horrible with names, but he comes out of the same camp as Uriah Hall, known for his crazy, knockout on The Ultimate Fighter. Now, this fight was just a complete slugfest, and it was high octane the whole time. I don't think I've ever seen an ESPN Plus early prelim fight that excited me that much. That was fun. And then the very next week, oh my God, right after this, you get over and we've got last week, okay, we got the Edwards and Muhammad. Remember, Leon Edwards was supposed to face Khamzat Chimaev. And these guys, this fight is, that fight was booked probably 3 times previous, and we've had COVID reasons for it dropping out. We've had injury reasons. We've had a lot of reasons. Well, anyways, Bilal Muhammad, who just fought in I think January or early February, steps up again, short notice, against Leon Rocky Edwards, who hasn't fought since July of 2019 in San Antonio. I was personally at that fight against RDA, and he had an impressive performance. I was very excited for this fight, and I was excited to see Bilal Muhammad get that chance because I'm very high on this guy, and Leon is a great fighter as well. So that one ended in a heartbreak eye poke. If you haven't seen it, go on Instagram, go on Twitter, go on like Dana White's Twitter. I think he posted a picture of it. Sorry, I hit the mic. It was just nasty, a bad situation, and maybe it's time. Maybe it's time that the UFC look at other options for the gloves. I remember last year watching the Joe Rogan podcast, Joe Rogan MMA Show. It's on Spotify now. If you go on Spotify and look up, you're going to look for Trevor Whitman and Justin Gaethje on there. In that podcast, Trevor Whitman showed his MMA glove that I don't know. It's supposed to hold the hand different to where it would help prevent eye pokes, but still enable the freedom of movement for grappling exchanges, so that you don't miss much, but you're losing out on all the eye pokes. He also had a good demonstration about the padding, the foam that's used inside the UFC gloves as opposed to this glove that he created. It was a very fascinating portion of that podcast that he made me a believer. I think he convinced Joe Rogan too, and for whatever the reason, the UFC wants to be able to manufacture their own, or they want their own profits of it, or the business side of it. I'm sorry, Dana White, this needs to get worked out. It absolutely does. I want to see. I don't want to see any more eye pokes. I think we saw way too many of them during Fight Island. I think they had a tally going. It was crazy. So yeah, I want to see that new glove. I would love to see at least one event where you test it out. Just one event. Do it on early prelims. Hell, even do it when you do the Ultimate Fighter. I don't know. I want it before that. I want it before Dana White's Contender Series. I think it needs to happen sooner rather than later. Let's get some in and let's test them out and make it happen, and see if it cuts down on the eye pokes, because I believe that's that eye poke on Bilal Muhammad looked nasty. I mean, this guy gets hurt for a living, and to see him flopping around like a fish after getting poked in the eye that bad, that's a tough one. That's a tough one for me. Oh yeah, another bit of news. Okay, so you remember, y'all probably already seen it because it went viral, but the Spencer Jones, the Oklahoma wide receiver, versus the MMA fighter, I think his name was Walker Brown. So the district attorney in Oklahoma, where this happened, Norman, Oklahoma, I think is where the University of Oklahoma is. I should know this because they used to be Big 12 with Texas A&M, or A&M used to be in Big 12 with them. Let me correct that one before I get a bunch of hate. Yeah, so the DA declined to file charges in this. I've got the video pulled up. I don't know if I'm going to play it or not, but I mean, watch who you pick a fight with, because I don't know the story. I don't know the backstory. There's a lot going on. When the video starts, the MMA guy already has a bloody nose, and they're in a full confrontation. And Spencer Jones gets wrecked, and his friend gets wrecked even harder. So I don't know if they released the name of the other guy or if he has any affiliation to Oklahoma football either. But I'm happy that the DA declined to press any charges either way. I saw almost immediately there was a legal fund for Walker Brown and his brother. I'll double check and make sure that's the name. Walker and Braden Brown. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Walker and Braden Brown. So yeah, I think it's good. Bar fights happen all the time. And if you're stupid enough to not realize, like, this guy has a weird ear, and maybe I shouldn't mess with him. Like, if you don't know what a cauliflower ear is, like, you shouldn't be getting into fights. And if you don't have a cauliflower ear and you're talking smack to somebody that does, I'd watch your back. I'd probably think twice about getting into this fight here. Walker Brown feeling threatened, feeling cornered in a bathroom. I've got no problems with him smacking a punk ass around. I don't know if Spencer Jones is a punk ass or if he was being a punk ass, but I mean, yeah, shit happens. Shit happens when you're drinking. So, but yeah, DA shouldn't get involved. I don't care. I think there were some reports that Spencer Jones's friend was knocked out cold and continues to get hit. I heard there was eye surgery. It was a bar fight, folks. It was a bar fight. You know, you don't want to get injured, don't get into a fight. Plain and simple. All right, back to more UFC events. Let's go. Where are we going to go? All right, let's go to this weekend then. Okay, ton of excitement for this fight right here. We're going to borrow the UFC's website for this. Love their graphic here. Derek Brunson versus Kevin Holland. This Saturday, UFC Apex. Kevin Holland is the real deal. Derek Brunson is the real deal. These two are going to go, and it's going to be big. This is going to vault either Brunson or Holland into immediate title talks in the middleweight division. This could be that next potential contender for Israel Adesanya. I like it. I like it a lot. Kevin Holland, his knockout of Jacare, where he's like getting up off of his back and clips him just right in the jaw. I've never seen anything like that in my life. That was amazing. Let's go ahead and pull that up. I want to pull that up. Can we pull that up? I'm not monetized yet. I don't give a shit. Let's go. Kevin Holland, KO Jacare. Let's go. We'll just click one of these real quick. Hell no. All right, it's already queued up there. All right, he's like hammer fisting him from the bottom. Jacare backs off just a little bit. Kevin Holland, as he's sitting up, just wham, catches him with that. Catches him again. And boom. And he's done. All while in the process of getting up off of his back. That is nuts. And Mark Smith coming in. Like, that's enough. That's enough. That was probably one of the most fascinating things I've seen in 2020 as far as the UFC goes. That was amazing. Oof. Oh, that's bad. All right, that's enough of that. So, but yeah, I like that fight. Gregor Gillespie versus Brad Riddell is the co-main event. Tai Tuivasa versus Dontel Mays. Tai Tuivasa, fan favorite. Love the guy. Don't ever want to see him get cut from the UFC. Obsessed with seeing the shoey where he pours the beer into the boot, has the person spit in their own shoe, and then he drinks it out. That's wild. Probably not very... let's just say we're not going to see a shoey right now during COVID. Germs. Not going to happen. Plus, there's no fans at the Apex right now. But I still like Tai Tuivasa outside of the shoey. I think he's a great fighter. I love watching him fight. I think he's exciting. Dontel Mays. This could be a make-or-break fight for Dontel Mays. This might be, if he can't pull this one off, he could be one of those cut casualties. But then again, I don't know. The UFC is pushing hard to get some more talent and develop more talent at heavyweight. I think they've done a good job of that. It's not the same names up at the top of the heavyweight division. Of course, we just had Alistair Overeem was cut and JDS was cut. But then waiting in the wings, you've got Cyril Gahn that just had a huge win over Jazier Rosenstruik, which is another up-and-coming guy. I mean, they're doing a good job. So, Dontel Mays, sorry. I could have been wrong, and I may be wrong. But I am excited for these two to fight. Let's see another. We got the debut of Cheyenne Buys and her husband JP on this card. Husband and wife fighting on the card. That's interesting. Very interesting. Let's go to prelims here. Marion Renault, Macy Chiasson. Again, awful with names. I actually met her whenever I went to the San Antonio fight in 2019, the Leon Edwards and RDA, and I got to talk to her for a few seconds. She's an exciting fighter. I like her. She did have that slip up in September 2019. Who did she fight? I'm trying to think here. Lena Landsberg, I want to say. Yeah, Lena. Yep, she lost to Lena Landsberg in a unanimous decision. But then she came back in 2020 with a pretty big win. So excited to see her fight too, and Trevin Giles, another up-and-coming middleweight to keep your eye on. Montel Jackson at bantamweight, exciting fighter. This should be a good card this weekend, but I know everybody's waiting. UFC 260, March 27th, Stipe versus Ngannou 2, Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega. Those are going to be great ones. I'm going to do another show next week. We're just going to talk all about that. And if there's any other news, we'll kind of talk about that as well. Have a little discussion. Drop a like and hit that follow button, and let's make something happen with this podcast. And this is MMA show number 1, so it's only going to get better from here. And as I get more comfortable and probably not as awkward. So, all right, we'll see you next time, folks.